I am going to skip the California atmospheric river shit and dive directly into the drone wars.
The war in Ukraine and escalating tensions between the U.S. and Russia after a Russian warplane forced down an American drone over the Black Sea. Chief Global Affairs anchor Martha Raddatz has the story. Good morning, Martha.
Good morning, George. This morning, the U.S. searching for that downed multi-million-dollar drone after a Russian pilot essentially hot-dogging an international airspace collided with the drone. It has never happened before. A collision.
One of the funniest takes from the American government on this was that they said dumping its payload or dumping its fuel was actually environmentally fucked up. They said dumping the Russian plane, dumping its fuel in front of the drone was fucked up on the environment. Do you understand that? Do you understand how fucking funny that is? Like, not to get all Elizabeth Warren with it, but the carbon footprint of the U.S. military is like unimaginable. The United States may or may not have blown up a fucking Russian pipeline deliberately, which caused one of the largest fucking gas leaks in human history. Now, we don't know. Allegedly, the U.S. did it, but what we do know is, well, Russia didn't do it. It seems that it was actually fucking pro-Ukrainian random people that randomly happened to find bombs and randomly happened to know how to dive, do a fucking pipeline, randomly happened to evade everything, right? Evade all the authorities and all the scrutiny, and we're able to do it randomly because they love Ukraine. That's what the official story is now. Now, but again, I digress. It's very stupid to just be like, I can't believe the environmental impact when the DOD is the single largest consumer of fossil fuels and the largest greenhouse emitter. Exactly.
Between a U.S. drone and a Russian warplane. While reckless interceptions are common, like this one in 2020, this time was far different. 2 Russian fighter jets making 19 passes at high speed by the U.S. drone over a 30-minute period, spraying the drone with fuel multiple times. On the last pass, one of the fighter jets flying vertically towards the drone, colliding with the drone's rear propeller and bringing it down.
They collided with the aircraft, damaging the propeller and essentially putting it in a situation where it was unflyable and uncontrollable, so we brought it down.
The drone's propeller was bent, but the U.S. was able to...
M-HUD says when an American sees oil being wasted...
No. Wait.
That's why they're offended personally. Me personally, I'm just offended that you wasted the oil. Like, that's kind of fucked up.
No. Wait.
Me personally, I wouldn't take it. Why are they acting like the drone was a brave American soldier who got personally tortured? Because the media loves fucking pushing war narratives, and this is like a good way to try and make it seem like it wasn't just an interception gone wrong, but instead a deliberate act of violence against the U.S. military and America's hegemonic power status, and that Americans should feel the shame that a nation with a significantly smaller GDP that we have been trying to excise out of the global marketplace, even though they currently hold on to the oil. They currently hold on to a lot of influence on the oil and gas supply around the planet. That we should fucking escalate tensions and possibly strike back.
Guide the drone away from where it collided and into the Black Sea. A big question at the Pentagon: was this simply a reckless interception that got out of control, or was the collision done on purpose?
Just demonstrative of very unprofessional.
Dude, why is every fucking military admiral guy have this exact same haircut? This is completely unrelated to the story at hand, but every single one of these motherfuckers has the same haircut, dude. It's crazy. I don't get it. It's so funny. It's like this is like the American version of the Japanese samurai haircut. You know what I'm talking about? The bald but top knot. Like, the American military boot cut is so good. Identical. You know they're only allowed to have very specific haircuts, right? I do, but like, I'm talking about the way that it balds. Guys, please. You know I'm not talking about the high and tight. You know that, right? Like, that's not what I'm talking about, chat. I'm talking about how he's balding. It's always like this. It's the exact same balding pattern. Of course, I'm not talking about the fucking freedom fade or whatever. No, I'm talking about the very specific male pattern baldness. Okay? That's also standard issue, turns out.
Unsafe airmanship on the part of these pilots.
The Russians are claiming the drone was flying southwest of the Crimean Peninsula toward Russia's border and crashed because of sharp maneuvering, and that the Russian jets never came into physical contact with the drone. Late yesterday, the U.S. summoning Russia's ambassador to the State Department.
We don't want any confrontation between the United States and the Russian Federation. We are in favor of pragmatic relations.
And it's no wonder U.S. Air Force official tells us they do not believe the Russian pilot did this on purpose, instead saying the Russian pilot was simply incompetent and flat out dumb. George?
Okay, Martha, thanks very much. Speaking of the top spokesman for the National Security...
Yeah, it's pretty obvious to me, at least, that, like, they are also not in favor of somehow escalating tensions against Russia here. That even they're like, yeah, the pilot was a doo-doo caca head. And they're not like... I don't know. It doesn't seem like they're interested in like, increasing anything else, like increasing any like serious escalation. They just keep saying like, yeah, it seems like the stupid dumbass pilot did a dumbass bad wrong thing. A big dum-dum, a big dummy. Now, of course, it doesn't change the reality that do I think America is going to keep sending drones into that region? Of course they are, obviously. I'm sure this will happen. I'm sure this will happen again.
Councilor John Kirby. John, thanks for joining.
It was a forward observation group. They're taking claim on Instagram for the pipeline. Please check them out. They openly work with the U.S. military and are constantly training with them, U.S. personnel. I'm sorry, brother, but if you think that I'm going to look at a fucking Instagram post that says we are the reason that the pipeline blew up and then cover that as like a real thing, I don't know what to tell you, okay? Like, I have no capability to fact check that, but immediately, my first inclination is absolutely fuck no. Am I going to take something on Instagram seriously? Like, that's crazy. Like, they didn't even post on Twitter. You know what I mean? They posted on Instagram. Motherfuckers are looking at Rap TV. Yeah, literally. Like, Instagram probably as a Facebook affiliated platform is where even more fake news happens than Twitter. So that's a meme about forward observation. They're just the IG t-shirt brand. Oh my God. Oh my God, that chatter believed a fucking t-shirt. Oh my God, a t-shirt ad. That forward observation group is the fucking is the PSYOP girl, right? It's like her other brand that she associates with on Instagram. The PSYOP girl that we looked into before. So Chatter saw the PSYOP chick, thought she was fucking hot, turned around and actually followed the forward observation Instagram post because the PSYOP girl promoted them, and then got duped by a fucking t-shirt ad. You fell for the fucking... God damn it, dude. Oh, God. We are never going to see the pearly gates, okay?
Joining us again. So is that the conclusion? Just a dumb move?
That's what it looks like right now, George. I mean, we'll still try to see what we can do to do the forensics on this, but it, at the very least, looks like this was just reckless behavior by a Russian pilot.
But there's still a danger, even if this was chalked up to incompetence. I know you called in the Russian ambassador yesterday. What was the message?
Yeah, we're not minimizing this. I mean, you don't bring in the Russian ambassador because you're failing to take something seriously. We are taking it seriously, and the message was, don't do this again. We're going to continue to fly in international airspace over international waters where this drone was.
Okay, my bad. Sorry. No. That's not it. Stop it. They have pictures of them training all over their IG, asshole. You do not want me to look through the post and then rip you a new asshole. You will not understand the meaning of asshole until you fucking get me to literally look through it and make fun of you for the next 35 minutes. You should be excited at the prospect of me not fucking pulling this information and then making a mockery of you over and over again. Stop. You should be thankful instead of calling me a fucking asshole.
That's going to continue, and we expect the Russians to observe international law and to not interfere with our legal operations.
The danger is that an accident could just start an escalation. How do we prevent that?
Well, one thing is the lines of communication staying open. So, good that we could bring the Russian ambassador here in Washington into the State Department. And it's good that there are other lines of communications. There's a deconfliction line between U.S. European Command and the Russian Ministry of Defense when it comes to the eastern flank airspace of our NATO allies. So we have ways of communicating with the Russians directly, and that's a good thing. That's one way to try to minimize the risk of miscalculation.
Are you concerned, though, about Russians escalating in other ways as they're bogged down in Ukraine?
Oh, absolutely. Look, I think escalation concerns have been with us since the beginning of this war, George. And you don't know exactly what Mr. Putin's going to do on any given day or how he's going to react to any outcomes on the battlefield. That said, we're also wholly committed to making sure that Ukraine can continue to succeed on the battlefield. So that if and when it comes to the table, Mr. Zelensky can succeed there. We're going to continue to provide support to Ukraine as they fight this war, very vicious war in the Donbass area, and potentially offensive operations by the Russians here that might kick off here in weeks and months ahead. Just today, George, Secretary Austin and the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Mark Milley, are going to be holding yet another contact group meeting, this one virtual from the Pentagon. They'll come out and talk to the press after that to talk about all the things that we're doing with allies and partners to make sure that Ukraine is ready for the fighting that we think will be renewed here come spring.
How about the drone? Are you concerned the technology could fall into Russian hands?
Without getting into too much detail, I can tell you that we're very comfortable that that should anything be taken by the Russians, their ability to exploit useful intelligence will be highly minimized. That said, it's our property, and obviously we're looking to see what we can do to maybe recover. That will be challenging in the Black Sea, and it's very, very deep water, but it's our property.
Okay, John Kirby, thanks as always for your time.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning.
Damn, dude. Robin Roberts trying to wake your asses up, and you won't even listen to it. Hear about what Russia had to say about the U.S. drone that crashed. Don't really care. We're moving on from that.
A federal judge.
I just don't think it's that big of a deal, and it doesn't seem like the Pentagon is trying to make a bigger deal out of it, but the media will definitely try to make a bigger deal out of it as best as they possibly can. And then when they successfully are able to brainwash a bunch of people, you'll hear it in the chat because they'll turn around and come into my community and say, Hasan, how dare you? That drone had a family. What the fuck are you talking about? The drone operator actually got really scared and got a heart attack or something. They'll try to humanize the drone as best as they possibly can. They'll talk about the, property damage aspect or some shit like it's a big deal. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny to think about right now because I don't think like either side wants it to go any further than it actually is. Yeah, there's a John Oliver take on federal aid. We're going to talk about that later. That drone was a pastor of his church. That drone was disabled. What do you think about it now? I still have the same take. The response to this versus the Chinese balloon is laughable. The response to this versus the Chinese balloon is exactly the same, by the way. It's just pro-America. When America's in the Black Sea and Russia fucking fucks around and causes one of our drones to fall near their fucking coastline, it doesn't matter. It was still Russia's fault. The response to the Chinese balloon, when a fucking Chinese surveillance balloon unfortunately flies into U.S. airspace and then America blows it up, then it's like, holy shit, this is an act of war. The one component is the media. The same group of people are just also still banging on the fucking war drums. My take is identical. I said it didn't matter when America or when the Chinese balloon was fucking flying over America. The one was international. The other one wasn't. These aren't the same. Okay, I know that it was over international waters. That's why they didn't like fucking laser it, but instead, fucked around with it while they were intercepting it. And also, I understand why America blew up the Chinese balloon, even though I think it's funny. Okay, like the semantics different. The semantics different in this regard is completely irrelevant to the point of contention or the point of the conversation because neither of which matters. Okay. Neither of it is like important.
A judge in Texas is hearing arguments in a case that could jeopardize access to abortion pills.
And the ruling could come as soon as today. A lawsuit from anti-abortion groups say the FDA should not have approved the drug. When used with a second pill, it's considered the most common method of abortion in the U.S.
Joining us now is CBS News legal contributor and Loyola Law School professor.
This is a gigantic fuck you, an additional fuck you to the American, to the civil liberties, the consistently eroding civil liberties, okay, of American women. Yeah, they're not done. The anti-abortion sick perverts are not done eroding your civil liberties, your bodily autonomy. They're still doing it. They're going to go fucking even further. They're going to make it so that it's like illegal to even think about having an abortion. If they could get away with that, they would do that too. Every evangelical's going to hell, okay? Straight up. Straight the fuck up, dude. You got a one-way ticket to hell. Have fun with it. Anyway, they went judge shopping, as of course one does, to find like a mepesferone, or however you say it. I'm not going to be able to say the fucking abortion. The aborificient. Fuck! It's so hard to say. Both of these words are very difficult to say. Why can't they just say aborabo pills? Fuck me. Okay, anyway. It's so fucking hard to say the name of the pills and all of that stuff. Anyway. Jesus Christ. Okay, so the aborabo pill in question is possibly going to be pulled off the markets. They want the FDA to regulate it or stop selling it altogether. They judge shopped, found a Trump-era judge that was put into place. The judge is like a clear piece of shit. Yeah, mifepristone, abortifacient. Shut up! That's hard. That's too hard to say. Anyway, they literally want to stop like women in red states from even being able to access this via mail. And yeah, this is where we're at. No more baby pills. This guy probably is going to, given, I don't even know if he has in the time frame that I said I was going to actually cover the news and didn't actually cover the news, but this dude is a giant piece of shit. Fake feminist. Yeah, exactly. I am a fake feminist. I'm a grifter. So the guy's a giant piece of shit. He is not allowing the media to even. He's not even allowing the media to actually, or any witnesses to actually take part in the trial.
Professor Jessica Levinson. So, Jessica, this drug was approved by the FDA more than 20 years ago. Why would a judge overturn that decision?
Well, because there's a group asking him to do so. And what they're saying is that the FDA didn't go through the proper procedures when almost a quarter century ago, they did approve the drug. And they're saying that the drug, despite it having complications in only about, I think, 0.3 to 0.4% of situations, they're saying that the drug is harmful. And so in this case, I do think it's worth repeating that if another judge was hearing this case, it probably would not see the light of day. But people know that if they file in this district, there's only one judge who will hear that case. This is a very conservative.
I love how like openly they're like, yeah, we found the biggest piece of shit who will definitely give us what we want. We also stacked the Supreme Court with a bunch of other pieces of shit who will further give us what we want. And therefore, there is nothing you can do. There is no democratic means of pushing against this. You just can't do anything. We can judge shop. Okay, here's what might happen. Here's a thread. DOJ will seek an emergency stay from the Fifth Circuit as fast as it can, review Maddie's opinion, and draft a motion. They will likely lose. The Fifth Circuit is dominated by highly partisan Republicans like Kyle Duncan. Then it goes to SCOTUS. I think there's a real chance that the SCOTUS grants a stay. There is no legal basis whatsoever for banning mifepristone, which was approved 23 years ago. The statute of limitations to file this suit is 6 years. However, the GOP controls SCOTUS's practice. When the Biden administration asked for an emergency stay from a hack judge like Kaczmarek, has been to deny the request. So there's a real risk that Maddie's order could remain in effect for months or more. If SCOTUS denies a temporary stay, the question whether to permanently reverse Maddie will still be on appeal. The Fifth Circuit gets the first shot, and it may intentionally delay its ruling to leave Maddie's decision in place for as long as possible. The DOJ will likely lose again. Most likely after the Fifth Circuit rules, SCOTUS will hear it again. I would be surprised if even this SCOTUS allows such a lawless order to remain in effect forever. but there's no guarantee that the DOJ wins. Depending on what Maddie the K's opinion says, FDA may also try to bypass him by reapproving mifepristone, although I'm told that process could also take months, so buckle up. Looks like shit is about to get super lawless. So understand that, this is like literally one tiny marginal aspect to like counter the already horrifically undemocratic thing that the Republican Party did. And they're like, nope, you can't even do that. You can't even get like fucking mailed in abortion pills if you truly, truly, truly need it. Fuck you. This is what happens when you make hating women and denying women their bodily autonomy the entire political movement. Fire.
Judge, and I think that's why we're having this discussion now, is because potentially he will try and do something which is unprecedented, upend the FDA approval of this drug.
So, Jessica, it was specifically selected for this region, but it could potentially have national impacts. Tell us the implications that this judge's decision could potentially have on abortion rights nationwide.
That's a great question. So you're right. What we're seeing more is national injunctions. And so what people are asking for is not just say that the FDA was incorrect in approving mifepristone, not just for this district in Texas, but nationwide. And so at least temporarily, if the judge does in fact issue a nationwide injunction, that would mean that mifepristone cannot be prescribed and used throughout the country.
Well, Jessica, can you explain the transparency concerns about the judge presiding over this case?
Judicial activism is okay when we do it. There is not a singular fucking judge on this planet that is impartial in the way that they adjudicate. I'm sorry if you think that, you are a clown, okay? There is no impartiality in a system that is slanted towards the right to begin with. So even if you try to arrive at some level of impartiality in this right-wing process, this right-wing system, you are still doing the bidding of the right. The only reason why right-wingers can get away with claiming that the left has activist judges is because the criminal justice system usually is very slanted to the right. That's why anything that is seen as like lenient against that kind of behavior, against that kind of attitude, can be correctly called out as activism. Meanwhile, right-wing activist judges have created the Federalist Society. There is not even an actual fucking comparison to that. There is no Federalist Society equivalent on the left. There are some formations that are similar, but they do not benefit from the accumulation of wealth that the far right has. The ACLU, they don't have judges, brother. The ACLU is an organization of lawyers. How would you compare the ACLU to an organization that literally picks? I work for the ACLU, you idiot. Wait, I'm so confused. Are you on crack? Who are you talking to? Oh, you're shitting on the other guy. Yeah. This motherfucker said the ACLU, dog. Leave me alone. Not him. The other guy said. The Federalist Society is very openly a group of like far right freaks that try to fill up their networking group with as many far right phrases as they possibly can, with the express purpose of filling up the Supreme Court with far right judges who will push for far right opinions. That's it. The ACLU is a liberal institution that tries to combat that by way of like opening up lawsuits. They're lawyers that do that, not judges. There is no left-wing judge scouting farming operation in the same way. Yeah, the ACLU also does not recruit law students in fast-track judgeships like the Federalist Society. So should progressives open up a Federalist Society equivalent? That's a wonderful and laughable idea. It's like saying, should progressives lobby the federal government for favorable, for favorable laws and rules and regulation? No, this is a bourgeois system. It is created with the express purpose of trying to protect the bottom line of corporations and the mega wealthy. You are not going to be able to set up a counter system by just putting more money into that same system. The best thing you can do is try and organize. The best you can do is organize your workplace, and try to avoid the top of the hour ad break, which comes at the top of every hour. If you no longer want to see those ads at the top of the hour, the mechanism is set in place. All you need to do is subscribe, which you could do for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime. By connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, you get one free Prime subscription a month. Use it on your favorite broadcaster. Hopefully that favorite broadcaster is me. Or you could potentially engage in one kind of collective action, which is by being lucky enough to get gifted a sub. That's it. Here's a 3-minute ad break now. But yeah, the only thing you can do is organize your workplace, build a mechanism of pushback. The only place you have power is when you are united. The only time you have power is when you are united. The only place you have power is when you are united at the workplace, okay? Where you can strike at the heart of capital by preventing them from generating or extracting additional value from you. Thank you, Flocky, for the 10 gifted subs.
So the judge presiding over this case in a teleconference on Monday, I think basically said the reporting is, you know what, we're going to have this hearing on Wednesday, but I'm going through a lot of security threats that this district, I think he said this district, not this court, is the recipient of death threats. And so I don't want to publicize it. Now, everyone can understand that people want to stay safe. The concerns with respect to transparency is that this is the people's forum. This is a court where he's going to make a decision that will affect many, many people, and to try and shut that off, not just to members of the public, but also members of the press that then educate the public. That's where the transparency concerns.
They really literally, yeah, dude, America, by the way, where you can do this behind closed doors too. You can erode, you can have a fucking activist, like right-wing psychotic lobbyist group come in, judge shop, find the fucking best judge that will definitely erode civil liberties, okay, by stopping you from getting a fucking drug. Like, how crazy. And then ultimately that judge could literally shut it off. They could shut off the court proceedings to the media so you're not even informed by it. It is fucking bananas.
He ultimately did acquiesce, and now, of course, we know the hearing's taking place. That's why we're all talking about it. And the next step is, of course, for us to wait for probably a written decision. He could give a decision from the bench. He could give an oral decision, but I think more likely is a written decision, because this will be appealed almost immediately, probably to the Fifth Circuit there.
All right, we'll be following it. Jessica Levinson, thank you.
What is this? Why is this an anti-bourgeois stance? What do you mean? Brother, why is anti-choice a bourgeois stance? Wouldn't capitalists want less pregnancy to keep the working class at work? Brother, I don't think you understand. These kinds of wedge issues are tactically deployed with the express purpose of dividing the working class, so they're too busy fucking fighting for their own like civil liberties rather than actually uniting along class boundaries. That's it. This is a wedge issue, just like anything else. The idea of like, and also more pregnancies mean more workers, but more importantly than that, they want American citizens to keep having children. They don't want to constantly refresh the labor pool with, immigrants. The DOJ is now investigating Silicon Valley Bank while customers continue to question the future of financial
of the failure of those two major American banks. Markets rallied yesterday, even though one bank rating agency actually downgraded the outlook for the entire American banking system. And CBS News has learned that the Department of Justice has opened an inquiry into what went wrong at Silicon Valley Bank. Errol Barnett reports.
With SVB now operating as a bridge bank with new leadership and all deposits fully backed by the federal government, its former top brass face increasing scrutiny. CBS News confirms the Justice Department launched an investigation Tuesday, while the Wall Street Journal reports the SEC also began a probe into the former Silicon Valley Golden Child's collapse. According to the Journal, stock sales last month made by SVB's former chief executive officer and chief financial officer will be examined closely. Former CEO Greg Becker has not spoken publicly since the collapse, but addressed his employees Friday.
I care so much about all of you. It really is just so incredibly difficult.
Becker sold more than $3 million worth of his shares in the company, fewer than 2 weeks before his house of cards fell. The transaction was scheduled a month in advance and does not necessarily suggest wrongdoing.
Oh my God. Come on, brother. Be a little bit more skeptical. Like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? Dude, come on. Just one guy. Put one guy in prison, please. Please put one person in prison. Please. Just one, dog. One. Just fucking one. Come on. As a treat. As a little baby treat. One guy.
I expected the SEC and DOJ to be coming in.
Jacob Frankel, a former SEC enforcement lawyer, says the investigation into potential insider trading is of most interest to him.
What they're going to look at is, what did the CEO know when he established the plan? And was there any modification to the plan?
Still in shock, Melanie Travis tells CBS News she only got access to her business's millions of dollars yesterday. She says her luxury swimwear business will likely lose money as a result of the chaos.
Even though it's there, it's moving very slowly. And so we have a list of all of our suppliers, and we're just calling every single one to say, we're not going to be able to pay our bill.
The CBS Mornings, I'm Errol Barnett.
Right, well, shares of Credit Suisse, along with European bank stocks, falling sharply this morning as jitters.
Oh, yeah. Credit Suisse stocks have dropped to a new low. Worries are spreading throughout the banking sector as well. I believe, is it Credit Suisse's largest financier, the Saudi government, too?
From the SVB collapse spread. Yahoo Finance's Inez Ferrer is here at the Wi-Fi Interactive with a breakdown for us. Hey, Inez.
Hey, Rochelle, and I just want to show you what's happening with the sectors on the S&P 500 because, as you mentioned, financials really taking a hit today. And let's take a look at our banks chart so you can see a lot of these stocks that are underwater. You've got JP Morgan Chase, Morgan Stanley that's underwater. But we want to point out Credit Suisse, as you have been mentioning, down 18% right now. And over the last 8 sessions, it has been down. I'm going to pull up a 7-day chart here. Now, investors had been concerned about Credit Suisse for some time. Also, they saw problems when it comes to the credit default swap. Those prices were spiking higher. So you heard rumblings over the last couple of days that the bank may be in trouble because that is a type of insurance on default. So when those prices go up, you know that there's trouble. So we saw today also the stock going lower. This is also after the Saudi National Bank said that it won't give the bank any more assistance. This is its top shareholder, by the way, saying no more funds for you. So this is creating problems with the entire banking sector right now. We're seeing pressure on banks overall. I also want to point out what's happening with the regional banks because we saw what happened with SVB, the collapse of SVB, and we saw the impact that it had on the regional banks over the last couple of sessions. And I want to point out one in particular, which is First Republic. We've been watching this bank like a hawk over the last several sessions. On Monday, the stock was down a record 62%. Then yesterday, it rebounded more than 30%. It closed higher, and now it's down. This is after S&P downgraded the bank, its credit rating on the bank. So you're seeing that's part of the reason why you're seeing pressure on First Republic. So look, very different situations when you talk about Credit Suisse, when you talk about...
It's like some domino shit, dude. The dominoes are falling.
SVB, very different banks. Credit Suisse, much larger than SVB, different dynamics, different situations, different set of issues. But nonetheless, this is creating concern within the banking industry. Rochelle?
Certainly terrible timing, to say the least. We know that...
Fourth once-in-a-lifetime crash. Listen, as things keep getting worse and worse, the time period between like once-in-a-lifetime crashes gets shorter and shorter. You know what I mean? Not that it's going to happen for sure, but of course, like, we're going to keep saying once-in-a-lifetime crash until it's happening like weekly.
Billionaire Ray Dalio, though, has some thoughts on what the collapse of SVB...
You in the stock market? I have a like a, what is it, a SEP IRA or whatever, or a Roth IRA, whatever, like the equivalent of a self-employed 401k. I have that. That's as much as I'm in the stock market.
He means for the world financial system. What did he say?
Yeah, that's right. He basically said that the SVB collapse shows that the cracks are widening in the global finance industry as a whole. He also said that the collapse of the bank will be followed by more problems before the contraction phase of the cycle runs its course. He wrote this in an open letter.
So you are in the stock market, lol. Yeah, I mean, that's it. That's like, that's my level of involvement in the stock market. I don't even know what it's fucking called, but yeah. Yes, I am a capital owner, dude. It is my primary motive of wealth, of generating wealth. Yeah. As I have said time and time again, you should definitely have like a 401k or whatever the fuck. Obviously, in our current system, the moment that your productivity as a wage laborer is gone does not mean you should fucking kill yourself. Okay? Yes. You should have some level of, not a gotcha moment, brother, just clarifying. Yeah. All my strongs are wrapped up in Hasan's life choices. Yeah. How's the factory coming? You build a new one yet? Dude, all of it. Raider fit dress. I'm not going to do that. I have no capital. That's my name is Weeby and not Weeby with a W. And that's only like because you have to, because Social Security may not exist at a point like they think Social Security is adequate. Well, Social Security is already inadequate. You should have one regardless. I mean, yes, you should definitely have a retirement fund. This is something that I've been very, very open about advocating for from the jump. Bro, sometimes chatters are just bitch-ass motherfuckers and you should treat them as such. The unfortunate reality is that whenever I treat a chatter like the bitch-ass motherfucker that they are, there's like 10 chatters who literally turn around and go, well, first of all, you are being really uncharitable to this guy. You know what I mean? We have a community here. Hasan could set up an event and we could meet. Wait, what? What the fuck? Anyway, I try to be as charitable as possible until I can't. You know what I mean? That's what I try to do. Americans have to save up their dollars in a 401k or some type of retirement account, or they will 100% be poor or living close to the poverty line by the time retirement comes. Yes, exactly. Social Security isn't going broke. It will always have new money coming in because it comes right out of the workers' paychecks. Yes, you are technically paying into your future Social Security. However, that doesn't mean that the minuscule amount that you're going to get from your Social Security are going to be fucking living wages, especially as it seems like the federal government is not anywhere near interested in like providing a comfortable existence to those who have paid into the Social Security. So, yeah. While Social Security will be there, whether it will be a living wage or not, well, that much is that leaves much to be considered. I think I'll just let you make that assertion on your own. But that's why I always advocate for having like some level of like a nest egg. All right, let's continue.
Also, a similar tone was struck by BlackRock's CEO, Larry Fink, basically saying that some banks may have to pull back lending in order to shore up their balance sheets, also saying that you're going to see stricter capital standards following SVB's collapse as well, Rochelle.
Next tonight, the race for the...
Isn't Social Security not supposed to be a retirement fund? People shouldn't be expecting to retire and live off Social Security alone? No. Social Security absolutely is supposed to be a retirement fund. What the fuck? No, like conceptually, it is. That is literally what it is. The unfortunate reality is that what it's supposed to be and what it actually is are two entirely different things. That is the literal point of Social Security, though. That's it. Like, it was created for that reason. It was created so that there was a retirement fund. Like, that's literally the entire point, actually. And then your pensions back in the day when, the way that things worked back in the day, your pensions were supposed to be additional help on top of the Social Security, but pensions do not exist any longer. Pensions also had like their own issues or their own complications as well, like when companies go under, shit like that, obviously. But for that reason, there was a substitute created that basically made sure that every single American, regardless of their class position, regardless of how little money or how much money they make, could buy into the stock market so they could feel like they have a vested interest. This is why the stock market is, despite the stock market being owned by the top 10% of wealth, okay, almost entirely, the top 10% of wealth in the United States of America own 90% of the stock market, okay? The remaining 90% of the country, okay, own only 10% of the stock market, but that 10% makes them feel like they have a dog in the fight. But of course, as you know, the way it works in the United States of America is that our gains are privatized at the tippy top. The wealth accumulation makes it work that way. But the losses, well, the losses are socialized. So if the stock market is doing well, that doesn't mean you're necessarily doing well alongside it. But when the stock market is doing poorly, well, you bet your fucking ass you're going to feel it. Did you see the guy who robbed a bank in Utah for $1 and has to go to federal prison at some point? Going to the clank is a better retirement than a busted Social Security system. Lamau, help us. Papela, yeah, it's not. Quick point, pensions definitely exist still. It's still a benefit for government employees and city employees often get. Like my bro has a pension in New York City. That's true. I forgot to mention that. Pensions do in some ways exist for federal workers, government workers, that sort of thing. Oh, another way that pensions exist is for unions. Good union jobs will fight very hard to ensure that there are pensions or pension programs. How could I have forgotten? Of course. But because government employees, or at least unions for the most part, unions only represent 10% of the entire labor force, unfortunately, which also literally includes government unions as well. Only 10% of the American labor force is unionized, which literally includes government labor unions as well. So remember that. That's precisely why I say, not exactly all that significant. I didn't even think about it. It's an afterthought for me. Take it for someone who's younger but disabled. Social Security SSDI benefits is not even close to being enough to live on. We got an 8% COLA increase this year, but it was only about $140 increase for me. I mean, what do you mean? Look at that. There you go. Wow, you're caking in it, dude. You're fucking caked up. Yeah, if you want to understand truly that capitalism is a failure of a fucking system, look no further than people who are no longer productive. Okay, people who are not seen as productive laborers, the disabled, and also old people. Okay, the moment that you are no longer a productive laborer or have the capacity to be a productive laborer is the moment that the government will literally try to get you to quietly die in a corner. That's it. Fucking crazy. A lot of disabled people like me had to do sex work because SSI is not enough money.
The White House and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis declaring that supporting Ukraine is not in the vital interest of the U.S., instead calling the Russian invasion a territorial dispute. The White House responding tonight.
God damn, Ron DeSantis want to beat Trump so bad, bro.
Even some Republicans on the Hill with tough words for DeSantis on his foreign policy experience. Here's Rachel Scott.
Tonight, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who is likely running for president, declared protecting Ukraine against Russia is not in the vital national interest of the U.S. DeSantis saying, while the U.S. has many vital national interests, becoming further entangled in a territorial dispute between Ukraine and Russia is not one of them. He adds the Biden administration's virtual blank check for as long as it takes distracts from our country's most pressing challenges. The White House today firing back.
If we were just to lay back and let Putin take Ukraine, which, make no mistake, he hasn't pulled away from that. If we just lay back and let that happen, where does it stop?
The sharpest critics of DeSantis' comments, his fellow Republicans.
I don't know, border
the last
Poland.
Thing we need is a bully with nuclear weapons feeling like he's emboldened and that there's.
It's pretty funny to make this take because this is like another instance where the Republican Party is at odds with its base, right? To its base, it seems like this is a fucking silly thing. Like, who the fuck gives a shit about Ukraine or Russia, right? Like, why are we spending so much money there? But to the Republican Party itself, they're like, are you fucking kidding me? Of course, this is incredible. Like, this is an opportunity to dump all of the fucking weapons into a new territory where we're not even sending actual American military members into. Like, the arms sales, it's gigantic. You think it's a huge waste of money as an American citizen, but what you fail to recognize is that's what the American government is there for. The American government is there to dump a shitload of weapons that we bought that we are going to consistently keep buying from the military-industrial complex, and those weapons got to go somewhere. Oh no, our arsenal is withering away because we had to give it all to the Ukrainians. So now we have to buy more weapons. Now we have to do more R&D. The Department of Defense is nothing but a jobs program. The unfortunate reality is that the American jobs program of the DoD happens to be one that deals in death and destruction. There's obviously a secondary, or maybe if you ask Lenin, a primary reason for that existence, of course, because imperialism is a necessity under a global capitalist system of organization. You have to consistently find new places or consistently stop labor prices from going up. You have to consistently find a new group of permanent underclass members that you can exploit.
There's nobody keeping them in check.
Senator John Cornyn saying he was disturbed by the DeSantis statement. Others implying the Florida governor is out of his depth.
Obviously, he's busy running a big state, but if he's interested in the bigger states, he probably needs to get boned up on it.
Well, I don't know what he's trying to do or what the goal is. Obviously, he doesn't deal with foreign policy every day as governor.
But DeSantis is staking out a similar position as his potential top rival, former President Donald Trump, who has even suggested letting Russia take over parts of Ukraine.
Shortly after... Like, this is the funniest take. Like, this take is literally the threat to the entire bipartisan consensus surrounding Ukraine, which is just another vehicle to unload a shitload of funds in the military-industrial complex. This does not mean that the Ukrainian right to emancipation is just. Of course it is, okay? But make no mistake, America does not make moves out of the kindness of its fucking heart. There has never been a reason for the United States of America to ever act out in a humanitarian effort. If America would behave in a humanitarian way, it would not be death dealing globally, okay? It's just war profiteering. Please.
After I win the presidency, I will have the disastrous war between Russia and Ukraine settled. It'll take 24 hours.
David, former President Donald Trump has not provided any further details on how he would broker a deal to end the war in Ukraine, or specifically what parts of the country he believes Russia should be allowed to take over. David.
Rachel Scott tonight. Rachel, thank you.
Yeah, and Ron DeSantis is trying to beat Trump so fucking bad, dude. Liberal City moves closer to massive payments to black residents. What? Outnumbered. Panelists weigh in after San Francisco Board of Supervisors voiced support for the plan to award every eligible black resident with in $5 million in reparations. Dude, that would never happen, but that would be so fire. That's so funny. Oh my God, I love this. I love this story. Listen, if you're black and you haven't moved to San Francisco yet, I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean?
San Francisco's Board of Supervisors is backing a draft plan for sweeping reparations for African Americans.
Yeah, I know. Hasanox released the new Shinkansen Japanese bullet train with Sea Dog VA. Hasanabi Vlogs episode 1. I haven't watched it yet. I'm very excited to watch it, but we haven't watched it yet. We're going to watch it later. We're going to do the news.
Americans. But
this would be very racist of me not to cover the very real news story of every black person in San Francisco getting $5 million in reparations.
No one is saying who will be footing the bill. The proposal would award every eligible black resident $5 million. It would wipe out their personal debt, guarantee a nearly six-figure income for the next 250 years, and offer homes for just $1. But the city is already drowning in debt, projecting a, wait for it, $728 million deficit through June of 2025. Kaylee, you can't make up both the fantasy ideological nature of this proposal and the absolute derelict, toxic budget accompanying.
Oh, this is so fire. They have a black panelist on too. Oh, I can't wait to hear about how that's so devastatingly stupid. Like about how reparations is just a morally bankrupt subject matter from a black woman that they put on there Oh my God.
Yeah, it's so true. John Dennis, who's the head of the San Francisco Republican Party, said this is a completely unserious proposal. He said the $5 million lump sum payout seems ridiculous. But he went on to say it also seems that this is the one city where it could possibly pass, which you'd think San Francisco could possibly pass. But the broader American public, 68% told Pew we are against the idea of reparations. So in terms of a nationwide sort of system, maybe this happens in San Francisco. It's happened in some other jurisdictions. I don't foresee this having broad support.
Like, what planet are you guys on? What kind of crack are you smoking? Like, you just revealed that even in San Francisco, most people are like, yeah, this is ridiculous. Like, what are you talking about? There is not a single dude. What the fuck? This nation was built by slavers, man. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Reparations were given in the aftermath of the abolition of slavery to slavers for freeing their slaves. Like, literally, that's the only time reparations have happened in this country. Get the fuck out of here. You think, oh my God. San Francisco, people in San Francisco don't want to treat poor white people like they're full human, let alone black people, okay? Everyone in this community, I hope, understands that individuals who do not consider even poor white people as full human beings, they are never going to consider black people as human beings, like across the board, no matter what level of fucking wealth they're at. That's crazy. San Francisco is like also simultaneously being like, how do we melt the homelessness plan?
Nationwide.
San Francisco is one of the towns where Walgreens shuttered all of their locations there. Yeah. The African American and underserved
They literally openly fucking mentioned that the Walgreens like theft dynamic was made up. And Fox News, fun to see Fox News, who hates corporations, by the way. Remember, they're like anti-corporate, right? Even though they are a corporate entity themselves. So interesting that Fox News would literally avoid an opportunity to shit on woke social justice warriors over at Walgreens. Huh.
population in San Francisco has been disproportionately affected by the crime, by the COVID wasteland happening, and all the more. So if they want to help those residents, I don't think an unserious proposal is the way to do it.
So I wonder, how do you actually qualify for this? Are we doing like a huge genetic study? If you were, and my mom was a social worker, I talk about it all the time. We adopted a biracial baby. When I was growing up, we'd have foster care in my home, children from every walk of life. They were with a black family. Would they get reparations? By the way, we were in the San Francisco Bay Area for part of that time. So I'm wondering who actually can check what boxes to get this? And how many in the last couple of generations of blacks actually came from Africa? Like, is that how they're doing it? I have really basic questions here, because as Emily just pointed out, there are a lot of people, no matter what your skin color or your situation is economically, you could use some help. And I can't imagine you.
Bro, I love when the only time Fox News cares about class, which is not wrong, by the way, but the only time Fox News will ever bring up class issues is if they're like using it against black people. Okay? The only time they're like, well, what about all the other poor people? It is the same exact mentality of being like, oh, immigrants are coming here? Well, what about our homeless veterans? Bitch, you spat on a homeless veteran on your way to fucking work today. And then you act like you get on top of the ivory tower and you turn around and you go, what about our homeless? The past segment that you did was about how we can murder the homeless legally and we should be able to do so. But the moment that like immigration comes up, you're like, well, why don't we help our own? They always use pre-existing problems. They like mix and match pre-existing fucking problems and use it against one another. It's fucking crazy. She did what to a homeless veteran? Not her, literally. I'm saying like half of these liberals and conservatives unironically just do not ever care about homeless people until they are using homeless people as a talking point against immigrants. It's the same shit. They're talking about black people and reparations. Immediately, they're like, well, what about all the poor working class individuals in America? They do not care about mental health. But the moment, whenever gun violence occurs, they're like, well, what about the mental health aspect? What we should really be doing is like focusing on the mental health aspect. They never have ever cared about any of these issues. They just use that as a distraction. And then you have dummies in here going, Fox News, handshake emoji, DSAers inventing race reductionism. Jesus fucking Lord mercy, dude. Holy fuck.
You not wanting to be in a neighborhood where everybody is being helped. A high tide lifts all boats. I don't know. Does this make people want to study more, to rise, to do all of that? The victimhood is dripping in this. Who does this help?
Yeah, and who are the victims? This is a jurisdiction that
dripping.
never had slavery, so this is taking money from people who've never owned slaves and giving it to people who were never slaves. As you said, then it gets into all of the weirdness about how do you start categorizing people based on their ancestry. I think you go to these websites and it seems that we're all related to each other anyway. So, yeah.
Yeah, this guy, yeah, I love that. I love that. Yeah, this guy's actually, dude, this guy, ADOS, baby. You can't deny it, okay? African descendant of slaves. That's him right there. Right there, man. He's like, well, at a certain point, you got to realize we're all from Africa. I love that. I fucking love that. I would love to see that guy on Fox and see the N-word.
Yeah, it's
don't push him. He will say it.
I guess you want to call it a virtue signal, but it's more of an insanity signal. Not that we expect sensible governance from the San Francisco Board of Supervisors, but this is kind of a new low.
Well, yeah, and it's an illegal and immoral wealth transfer. That's all it is. It's not about compassion. It's not about human flourishing. It's not about lifting people up at all. It's about power. It's about the left saying, we'll give you free stuff if you vote for us, so vote for us. And who's going to foot the bill? We all know who's going to foot the bill. It's the taxpayer. And the mass exodus from California speaks for itself. California is not working. It's going to work even less if this happens.
Yeah, I haven't had this discussion with my biracial adopted sister, but I think I should. I want to know from her perspective, too. Raised by black parents
Really
just like me.
point.
Who's blacker? Like, this is ridiculous. This divides us in ways that we can't even conjure.
Yes.
Yeah, reparations is very divisive. Yeah. So that's awesome that she said that. That's awesome that she just popped off with that. Okay. You guys know what my perspective is on the matter. I do believe in reparations. I think it's a good idea. I think it's like the first smart moral I believe in reparations. I believe it's the first smart moral thing to do. It's literally the first step towards like any kind of restitution. If we're going to talk about how reparations should be doled out, there are many different ways of doing such a thing. I know Sean Hannity would never burp in the mic, but Sean Hannity would never ever talk about reparations in a positive way either. So there you go. You take the burps towards the microphone with the anti-racist agitated propaganda. You know, it is what it is. Okay, so where was I? Okay, so I support reparations, but $5 million per person is a little much. This is a shit ton of money. Guys, this is rage bait. There's no fucking way that like there's actually a $5 million payout happening. Get the fuck out of here, okay? That's not happening. As it stands, how do we know? How can we fucking push for reparations? How can we make reparations happen in this country? I don't know. Obviously, there would have to be... I don't know. I just don't believe that will ever happen. Let's be real. America is a profoundly racist country. There's just no fucking way. She said, who's black enough? Kind of giving away whiteness is exclusionary. Yeah. Whew. Ultimately, I think one of the more reasonable ways to do it, even though like in a perfect world, okay, the most reasonable way to possibly pass this legislation would be through community-wide reparations instead of like community-wide reparations paired up with like individual like monetary compensation. But good luck with that. It's most likely not going to happen. So yeah, can you track people that work in certain plantations? You could technically do that. Yes, I think we have the capabilities of being able to do that, but it's never going to happen regardless, unfortunately. But this in and of itself seems like just rage bait. It's a lot of work to trace adequate reparations. We'd never commit to it. You're fucking crazy if you think something like that wouldn't, because white people cause white people to further hate black people. I mean, it doesn't take much for white people to hate black people. I'm going to be honest with you. Bro, white people in this country don't want to even acknowledge systemic racism. Like, what do you mean? Oh, speaking of getting your money's worth, here is, this is an unrelated fucking segue, but here's Bethany Mandel, along with, I mean, this is awesome to see, okay? Here's Bethany Mandel failing to answer this basic ass fucking question, okay? This basic ass question, what it means to be woke? Like, what are you talking about when you say you want to end like woke culture? Now, after all this time has been spent on like advocating for something, you would think these fucking demons would know how to answer it. Turns out, nope. Like, she's writing a book about it, dude.
Of Americans consider themselves very liberal, and probably fewer of them consider themselves to be woke. And so, when we talk about traditional,
like one fucking question, and just like it falls apart.
Would you mind defining woke? Because it's come up a couple times, and I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
So, I mean, woke is sort of the idea that this is going to be one of those moments that goes viral. I mean, woke is.
Yeah, she was right. It got 7.7 million views so far on Twitter.
Something that's very hard to define, and we've spent an entire chapter.
Why? Why is it so hard to define? You wrote a fucking book on it. If you can't describe to me what this thing is that you wrote a goddamn book on, that's insane, okay?
After defining it, it is sort of the understanding that we need to totally reimagine and redo society in order to create hierarchies of oppression. It's hard to explain in a 15-second soundbite.
Yeah. Oh, she had a reason. Let's see what it was. So everybody's seen my viral brain fart from Rising this morning. I can see why it went viral. For those who haven't, here it is. A bit of backstory. Just before we went on air, Brianna Joy Gray was on a hot mic. I heard her demeaning parenting in general in colorful and nasty terms, stating parents only have kids in order to perpetuate their own narcissism. Robbie responded, there are some good ones and some bad ones. Wait, what? Is she trying to fucking cast it? Wait, what? As a mom of 6, including a newborn, this threw me off just a bit. Not an excuse, just a reality. I'm human. As for wokeness, here's an actual definition. Wait, what? She literally just said, oh, yeah, like I was triggered by what Brianna was saying. You know this is awesome because a lot of people on the left are no longer fans of Brianna, but like everyone was celebrating this. Now, the main reason why Bethany has a hard time with this is because she's supposed to be more of like a liberal, centrist right-winger, right? But ultimately, no matter what, no matter who you ask, they can't really give you an honest-to-God definition of what wokeness is or what you're trying to combat. Because if you fucking answer it, honestly, most people are going to be like, wait, that seems kind of racist. Okay? And yet, here she is. I watched my mom die. I took her off life support before we knew if she would survive because I had the choice to do it then. Wait, what the fuck? She said that? She did that? What the fuck? Sadly, her mother was woke and it had to be done. She was so woke. She was woke, so we put her to sleep. A definition of woke.
Being aware or being awake to the technology, to discrimination and prejudice and injustice. Now it's just another dog whistle for woke use.
I mean, it's true. It literally is true for the record. That is exactly what it is. No, that is what it is. That is what it is. It just means like you care about black people. Like if you're black, it just is a substitute for like the N-word. And if you're not black, then you are a lover of black people and you see them as full human beings instead of what people who are using it as a pejorative see it as. So that is also basically what the broader public sees it as. Like you would expect the broader population to be fucking brain broken because we see it so much in social media, but it turns out it's like that's not the case. Yeah, I remember this from Bethany Mandel. How could I forget? Bethany Mandel not being able to define wokeness makes sense considering she has written op-eds like this. We need to start befriending neo-Nazis. She wrote that, by the way. Yeah, I mean, I knew that. Yeah, I mean, she's out of her fucking mind. So the Florida government has a statement for what woke is, and it's exactly what you would expect, which is the acknowledgement that systemic injustices happen. So when they went to court to basically, make it illegal to have wokeness in textbooks, they were going to court to say that in history and in contemporary society, any sort of systemic injustice has ever happened or has any contemporary implications. That's what it is. Now, of course, it's hard to just openly state that, especially if you're Bethany Mandel, because very easily you can get fucking owned, right? Here's Ben's definition of wokeness. Wokeness claims, by the way, Ben's fallen off dramatically lately. Have you guys noticed that? Like, he only gets like 2K likes and shit. You think it's the Steven Crowder stuff that like hurt him in the eyes of at least like Twitter users? Like, what's going on? Anyway, wokeness claims, 1, Western civilization as institutions were and are discriminatory and serve the purpose of those in power, typically white straight men. That discrimination is both historic and ongoing, and all group disparities are explained by it. Discuss. Yeah. I'm just going to say yeah. What I don't understand is like, so what's up? Are you like against it? Like, what do you mean? Are you against that statement? And he is, by the way. He is against it. Ben Shapiro loves your piker. Thank you for the 5 get the subs. I don't really understand how you can like openly say this and then I guess like not feel embarrassed to act like that is untrue or act like that's a bad thing to say or think. So that's like a very odd. He doesn't think systemic racism exists. I know, but it does. So what's the point? Because like going against this and claiming that this is not the reality comes with an implication that I'm pretty sure Ben would even have a hard time explaining. It's the concept that genetic inferiority exists, right? Either we are all products of our environment and through learned behavior and through our material conditions are held back in society, or there is some other intrinsic factor at play. Now, of course, for Ben, he will never say that it's like genetic inferiority because even he understands, regardless of what he believes, by the way, even he understands that, that's a bit of a faux pas, right? If he's smart, this is for a video, don't take the bait. No, it's fine. I love that. So what people like Ben will do, what right-wingers love stating is, oh, it's not the genetics, it's the culture. But for some reason, they never have an answer for why more white people consume rap music than black people because, there are more white people out there, and yet I guess it doesn't impact white people in a different way. So if it's like rap culture or rap music, the largest consumers of rap culture and rap music are white people. So why is it that the same, incarceration disparity, the same carceral rate does not exist within white people as it does in black people? Why do you follow Ben Shapiro? Because I agree with everything he says. But it blows my mind. Let's be real. They aren't saying it's rap culture, though. I know what they're saying. But sometimes you got to like pin them to a corner to get them to actually say what they mean. Okay? Woke is anything that privileged people call to reduce it when they're asked to act morally or bring any change that undermines their position of power. So yeah, that's where this comes from. And it's like an endless game of semantics that you need to play. But ultimately, we all understand what it is. It's just systemic discrimination exists. But these people don't want you to say that because, or these people can't openly say it doesn't exist. They used to be able to, but people are a little bit more aware of that now. So they have to say, no, it's just woke. You're just woke. Well, it turns out it's not even that successful because the majority of Americans still consider woke to be aware of social and systemic injustices and see it as a broadly positive thing. Only like 35% of Americans, according to an Ipsos poll, consider woke to be smarmy and annoying. So, so it's not even a battle that they're winning on that front. Using CRT as a catch-all for everything you don't like didn't work, so they're rebranding to woke. Exactly. So that's cool. It's cool to think that These dumb motherfuckers haven't even been able to get this together. Here, I wanted to give you one last abortion take, by the way, from just a sane, normal Wisconsin State Representative Donna Rozar at a press conference introducing a GOP bill that would add rape and incest exceptions to the state's 1849 abortion ban. Thank you, Trevor 1 of 1 for the 5 get the subs.
Because I personally believe in life from conception to natural death, it is important that we tell women who are victims of rape and incest to support them if they choose to carry those pregnancies to term. I have had friends and family members who have been a victim of rape, not of incest, but of rape, and that pregnancy was carried to term. There was support there. That baby was relinquished for adoption, and I'm sure blessed the family in another state that the baby was adopted into. So I know there can be positive outcomes in rape situations where babies are carried to term and then relinquished for adoption.
I like that, it's such a fucking insane concept that she felt the need to clarify, while simultaneously still saying, like, you should carry those pregnancies to term. Why did you feel the need to clarify? Like, not incest. Why? It's not like it's different for you. It's still a baby, right? Why did you feel the need to clarify that it was just a rape baby and not an incest baby? I mean, the fucking insanity is all over this, right?
We need to make sure that those supports are there for those women, and I am part of some support groups that do that. Because I
know there can be positive outcomes in rape situations where babies are carried to term. As Governor Tony Evers is suing to overturn Wisconsin's 1849 abortion ban, Republicans in the state legislature are unveiling a bill to add rape and incest exceptions for up to 12 weeks and to clarify when an abortion to save a mother's life is allowed. Well, if a life is a life, then it's a life regardless of what the product is. So she's actually technically correct on that. You know what I mean? Life, regardless of what circumstances led up to it, should still be treated as a life, right? So they're, I guess, being a little hypocritical in that regard. Anyway, let's see what Ben Shapiro had to say. Speaking of the pro-life party, by the way, Ben Shapiro's pro-life, by the way. Let's hear what he had to say, by the way, about being pro-life, by the way.
If government can protect kids from the sick radical left, shouldn't they also protect kids from hunger? Wouldn't it make sense to strengthen food stamps and have school lunch be free, since some kids are in school lunch debt? Well, I mean, if you are a parent, school lunches are not going to solve the problem of child hunger at any serious level.
What? Okay, so he's going to, wait, hold up. He's going to advocate for, child tax credits then, right? Like, or even additional support, right? He's saying, like, school lunches are not enough.
If there is a problem of children actually starving, that is a child endangerment scenario in which CPS needs to be called. If you're talking about, like, actual...
So what? If you're poor, if you're fucking broke and poor, then the best thing to do is have big government rip you away from your child? Wait, what? Did this motherfucker just say, I hate big government, which is why big government should literally force your child into the foster care system for the crime of being poor? Like, Ben literally doesn't think the government should give you money so your poor child could eat, but instead should come in, knock your fucking door down, and kidnap your child. That's crazy.
Child starvation. The truth is, it does not take that much money to feed a child. I know I have 3 of them. You should be...
Wait, hold on. Oh, it doesn't take that much money to feed children? Hold on 1 second. Let me just look up Ben Shapiro's net worth. Oh, that's right. It's $25 million. Thanks, man. Thanks for dropping that note in there, dude. Oh, my God. I wonder why he doesn't think it's expensive to fucking raise a child. By the way, GOP state legislator opposed to free school lunch proposal, says he never met a hungry Minnesotan. Let's see what the child food insecurity rates are in this country, which is, I mean, wait, hold on. There isn't like this isn't like a heavily discussed take, right? Food insecurity for households with children rose in 2020, disrupting decade-long decline. Wow. So 14.8% of households with children have food insecurity. That's crazy. If only there were more studies on this. That's crazy. Now, of course, for those of you who want to know the truth about the matter, fuck Ben Shapiro. What a piece of shit. What a gigantic, evil piece of shit. Food insecurity is a gigantic problem in the richest nation on the planet, where we have an abundance of food that we produce, but of course, the markets dictate that we throw it out because it's a logistics problem. Okay? 85.2% of households with children were food secure, while 14.8% of households were food insecure. Almost 15% of households. Okay? Now, understand something. 15% of households with children were food insecure. Do you want to know where the number one most, calorie dense meal that a child can get when they live in a food insecure household? Do you want to know? School lunches. That's precisely why during COVID, when schools were closed, school lunch programs still continued. That's precisely the reason why free school lunches is a point of contention in this conversation. Do you understand? And for those of you who say something along the lines of like, oh my God, I went to school and the food was shitty as hell. Exactly. That shitty ass meal that you had is literally the best, most healthy, most calorie dense food that 1 in 14 or 15% of children, 1 in 6 children are able to consume while they're growing up. That's how fucking bad it is in the richest nation on earth. And Ben Shapiro's answer to this crisis, Mr. Protect the Children, Mr. fucking small government, his answer to this crisis is to just avoid the crisis and turn around and basically say that, like, if there are food insecure households, the government should break your fucking door down and kidnap your child.
Feeding your child before you feed yourself. It's that simple. There's a much deeper problem at work than school lunches if kids are legitimately starving.
Incredible take, dude. Incredible fucking take.
They also protect kids from hunger.
Oh my God. Oh my fucking God, dude. Oh my fucking Lord. I mean, holy shit. That is wild. Okay. 9 million children in the United States live in food insecure homes. 9 million. Okay. That's the latest estimate. The best thing for the small government to do is kidnap them and put them in the foster care system. That's insane, dude. The best part is that the MN House and Senate both passed this bill anyways. Dems getting work done, and it's for universal school lunch and breakfast. That's crazy to me. Yeah, the government should do everything but feed the children. They should just fucking... they should just kidnap the children. That's crazy, dude. I can't... It's just vice signaling. Again, and again, and again. 90% of conservative commentary just revolves around signaling vices. Okay? That's it. They literally just get off on being the worst possible person you can be. It's just like, yeah, actually, the right thing to do is fucking kill the children, as a matter of fact. And then conservatives are like, yeah, brother, you're right. Oh, yeah, I remember this one, too. The Alaskan Republican that argued child abuse deaths can be a benefit to society. This was fire. Another Save the Children ghoul. Here, this is sick. It's better. It's better for society for children who are abused that die.
In the case where child abuse is fatal, obviously it's not good for the child, but it's actually a benefit to society because there aren't needed for government services and whatnot over the whole course of that child.
This guy's fucking pro-life, by the way. This guy. Yeah, he said that. He said, like, actuarial sciences show the overall cost to benefit ratio favors the government in an instance where child abuse happens and the kid dies.
Child's life.
Through the chair, can you say that again? Did you say a benefit for society?
Talking dollars. Now you've got
Yes.
a $1.5 million price tag here for victims of fatal child abuse. It gets argued periodically that It's actually a cost savings because that child is not going to need any of those government services that they might otherwise be entitled to receive and need based on, growing up in this type of environment.
Through the chair, Representative, I guess that would be the idea, if I can use a really bad analogy, when you hit somebody, you always back up because it's cheaper to insurance. I don't pertain to that, and I'm really, I'm not even sure how to answer that there's a cost saving to the death of a child. The impact that has on a family and us as a society when a child is lost, especially to child abuse and neglect, is unmeasurable. And it's hugely tragic.
And follow
up.
And the way that you're calculating this 1.5 million, and when I say you, I mean the people who did calculate it, does that 1.5 million get higher or lower depending upon the age at which the child is killed?
So again, there's multiple factors, and a number can definitely increase, but again, I don't believe it's going to matter if they're older or younger. Again, a loss of a child is really unmeasurable.
They're talking about the value of statistical life. No, I know what they're doing. I get what they're doing. But even in the most charitable interpretation, it's like such a fucking psychotic thing. Okay? It is literally a psychotic thing. It's when you take a fucking econ textbook and literally use the arguments that you hear in an econ textbook, that you read in an econ textbook, while humanizing the widget factory workers. Do you understand? Like, that's the issue. There's a reason why when you read a fucking econ textbook, oftentimes they move away from like labor as anything but a commodity. They will only talk about labor as a commodity, rarely ever as like human beings, okay? The reason why they do that is because they want to talk about the line going up rather than what it means when the line goes up, but you've fired a bunch of the workplace, okay? And if you are to turn around and describe what goes on in a fucking econ textbook like it's with like, fully developed human beings as victims or winners or losers in any given circumstance, you will come across like a fucking sociopath. If you take this logic to its most extreme conclusion, it would technically be cost saving the roundup genocide and genocide everyone who's on welfare. Yeah, exactly. Throw back to the classic Felix Biederman tweet about econ textbooks. Chapter 1, the economy gives us ice cream. Chapter 2, this is why it's okay when children die in factory fires. Yeah, that is exactly what happens in econ textbooks. Cost-benefit analysis, when you actually think about human beings behind the actual cost-benefit analysis, if you think about them as like in terms of numbers, yes, you are going to come across like a fucking sociopath. This guy must be pro-abortion. Good take. Of course he's not, by the way. Remember, like, this guy, ironically, is also anti-abortion. Like, which makes it even weirder because then it's like, oh, so you want children to be forcibly born, okay? You want women to forcibly carry pregnancies to term just so you can kill them if it's cost effective. Like, what the fuck? It basically takes all of the Republican mentality and immediately showcases it for its depravity. It's depraved. Like, it's just insane. It's like the classic fucking take that Republicans have where it's like, yeah, we want children to be born, okay? We want children to be born so they can have the freedom to fucking die. The moment Republicans only care about a fetus until it leaves the vagina, okay? The moment that it's outside of the fucking outer vagina, it's like, it's done. The moment that a fetus is fucking born, okay? It's over. It's done. You fucking die. Now you die, and we literally don't care. Which is ironic because we also literally have awful maternal mortality rates in this country. Like, the absolute fucking worst in comparison to comparable OECD nations. It's mind-boggling to me. They don't even give a fuck about it. Like, the moment that you're born, the moment that you breathe your own fucking breath for the first time ever, it's a wrap. You can fucking die for all we care. It's crazy. And then the ones who are born into a fucking poor family, well, God forbid you have to go to fucking school. Ben Shapiro wants you to be fucking forcibly removed from your family and put back into the foster care system when, you know, the government could be doing other shit like paying for the fucking food or paying for the $5 a month subscription at the top of the hour so the poor baby doesn't have to fucking see the ad breaks at the top of the hour. Because at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. Now, if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe, which you can do for $5 or you can do for free with a Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account where you get 1 free Prime subscription a month. You can also get gifted a sub if you're lucky. Right? That's another way to avoid the top of the hour ad break. If you're lucky, you can get gifted a sub. Here's the 3-minute ad break now. MP Sharky, thank you for the 5 gifted. I can't feel my legs. Oh, God, help. Thank you for the 5 gifted. Hello, Hasan. I'm a new watcher. I'm interested to hear what your stance on the train derailments and the rail union's whole drama situation. If you don't wish to speak on that matter, what are your thoughts on the approval of the Willow Project? Both of these things, Train Guy Nate, I talked about extensively over the course of the past month. And also the Willow Project I talked about yesterday. So you can go on YouTube and find my thoughts on either of those things. Dark Lord of New Jersey, thank you for the 5 gifted. Sky Anon, thank you for the 5 gifted as well. All right, on that note, I'm going to end it here. I'm tired. Okay. Tomorrow, I got, the audience is way too white to vibe with that song. On that note, I'm ending it here. I am going to do leftovers tomorrow, obviously, and then after leftovers, I'll be back here. You already know what it is, okay? I don't know why I'm so tired right now, but I hope you guys like that I hope you guys like that vlog that I made. I'm very proud of it. You know what I mean? So, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Anyway, love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.